You guys, the Ford F-150 has always been the king of American trucks, right? It's been dominating highways, work sites, and pretty much any terrain you can think of for decades. But now, Ford is shaking things up in a huge way with the F-150 Lightning. Yep, the fully electric version of the iconic F-150. And today, we're diving deep into how this EV stacks up against the classic gas-powered F-150. Trust me, whether you're a die-hard truck fan or just love seeing how cars evolve, this is going to be a ride. First off, let's talk design. At a glance, the Lightning looks unmistakably like an F-150. You're not going to mistake it for anything else. But Ford has done some really smart tweaks to make it feel modern and, frankly, futuristic. The front grille? Gone in the traditional sense, replaced with a sleek, smooth panel that gives it a super clean look. It's a subtle cue that says, "Hey, this is electric, but it's still tough." And the LED light bar across the front? Absolutely stunning. It gives the truck this aggressive, almost sci-fi vibe, especially at night. Compared to the gas version, which sticks to that rugged, muscular F-150 face we all know, the Lightning manages to honor tradition while looking forward. Moving on to performance, and this is where things get really interesting. The Lightning comes in two battery options, standard range and extended range. Both are dual-motor all-wheel drive, which means you're getting instant torque the second you hit the accelerator. It's crazy fast for a truck of this size. We're talking 0 to 60 in the mid-4-second range for the extended version. Now, that might not sound like a huge deal until you realize you're driving a vehicle that can haul over 2,000 pounds and tow up to 10,000 pounds. Yeah, that's right. The Lightning can tow just as much as some of the gas-powered versions, which is mind-blowing. Speaking of towing, Ford didn't just slap on an electric motor and call it a day. The truck has something called intelligent backup power, which lets it power your home in emergencies. Imagine a storm knocks out your electricity. You could literally plug your house into your truck. That's next-level utility right there. And yes, the gas F-150 obviously doesn't have that, but it does have that familiar roar, that classic engine growl that's music to any truck enthusiast's ears. There's something about hearing a V8 wake up in the morning that just hits differently, you know? But let's talk about driving experience. The Lightning feels like driving a luxury sports sedan compared to the gas version. The instant torque makes merging onto highways feel effortless, and because electric motors are so quiet, the cabin is serene. You barely hear the road under you. The suspension is tuned to handle both work and comfort, so whether you're cruising downtown or hitting a dirt trail, it feels planted and confident. Now, don't get me wrong, the gas F-150 is no slouch either. Its suspension has improved over the years, handling heavy loads and off-road adventures with ease. But the Lightning has this uncanny smoothness that almost makes you forget you're driving a pickup. Speaking of off-road, Ford didn't skimp here either. The Lightning has an optional off-road package, which adds skid plates, upgraded shocks, and an electronic locking rear differential. It's ready to go anywhere you want, whether that's muddy trails, rocky paths, or even snowy backroads. And thanks to the low center of gravity from the battery placement, it handles turns and uneven terrain better than the tall, top-heavy gas F-150. The classic gas version still excels off-road, no doubt. Its ruggedness is unmatched, but the Lightning proves that electric doesn't mean sacrificing capability. Now, I know a lot of you care about the interior, and honestly, Ford has done a fantastic job here too. Step inside the Lightning, and it feels like stepping into the future. The cabin is spacious and modern, with a massive 15.5-inch touchscreen dominating the dashboard. Ford's latest SYNC system is intuitive, responsive, and packed with features. Think real-time energy monitoring, navigation that factors in charging stops, and tons of customization options. There's even a digital gauge cluster that updates depending on what you're doing, hauling cargo, towing, or just cruising. The gas F-150 has a solid interior as well, especially in higher trims, with familiar controls and premium materials, but the Lightning takes that to a whole new level. It's a tech lover's dream. Speaking of cargo, the Lightning has this genius front trunk, or frunk. It's huge and fully weatherproof, giving you extra storage that you just don't get in a traditional gas F-150. It's perfect for tools, groceries, or even camping gear. And yes, the rear bed is still fully usable, so you're not losing any practicality. Basically, you're getting all the utility of a regular F-150 with some futuristic upgrades that make life easier. Pricing is where it gets interesting, too. The Lightning starts at just over $40,000 for the base model and climbs into the $90,000 range for fully loaded versions with all the bells and whistles. That might seem steep, but remember, electric vehicles come with federal tax incentives in the U.S., which can knock a significant chunk off that price. Plus, with lower maintenance costs, no oil changes, fewer moving parts, and regenerative braking that reduces brake wear, it can end up being cheaper to own long-term. The gas F-150 starts slightly lower, depending on the trim, but over time, those maintenance costs can add up, especially if you're using the truck hard. And here's where the debate gets really fun, comparing the feel and soul of driving gas versus electric. The gas F-150 is all about that visceral connection. You hear the engine, feel the vibration through the steering wheel, smell the gasoline. There's a rawness to it that's very satisfying. The Lightning, on the other hand, feels almost like it's from another planet in comparison. It's smooth, silent, and ridiculously fast off the line. It's the kind of truck that makes you question why you ever needed gas in the first place, while still being able to handle everything you throw at it. Now, let's touch on how these trucks compare to past F-150 models. The Lightning is the biggest leap in decades in terms of technology and capability. Ford managed to take everything we love about the F-150, strength, versatility, reliability, and push it into the electric era without compromising what made it great. The gas versions, of course, are evolutionary rather than revolutionary. Each new generation brings tweaks in power, efficiency, and comfort, but the Lightning is a full-on paradigm shift. And honestly, it's exciting to see a classic American icon adapting to modern times so boldly. Another thing I love about the Lightning is its sustainability angle. You're driving a vehicle with zero tailpipe emissions, which is huge in today's world. And Ford is making strides to source batteries responsibly, and even allow for things like home energy storage integration. The gas F-150, while efficient for its class, can't match that environmental impact. So if reducing your carbon footprint is important, the Lightning is a game changer. Of course, there are still considerations: charging infrastructure, range anxiety, and the fact that EV technology is still evolving. But Ford has made a smart move by keeping ranges practical, up to 320 miles on a single charge for the extended battery, and building in fast charging capabilities. And for most people, especially those using the truck for daily driving or local work, the Lightning is more than capable. Meanwhile, the gas F-150 remains unbeatable for long hauls without worrying about stops. It's a trade-off, and it depends on what kind of driver you are. At the end of the day, both trucks are amazing in their own right. The gas F-150 is familiar, rugged, and a proven workhorse. The Lightning is thrilling, innovative, and represents the future of trucks. If you're someone who loves the idea of combining raw utility with cutting-edge technology, the Lightning is an absolute must-see. But if you thrive on that traditional truck experience, the sound, the feel, the pure mechanical connection, you'll probably still find comfort in the gas F-150. Here's the thing I find fascinating. The Lightning isn't just an electric truck. It's a statement. Ford is telling the world that EVs can be tough, capable, and American-made without compromise. And that's something worth getting excited about. It's proof that electric doesn't mean giving up performance or practicality. It's about redefining them. And honestly, as a car enthusiast, seeing this kind of innovation in a vehicle that has such a storied history is thrilling. It makes you wonder what the next decade of F-150s will look like. Oh, and here's a fun fact for you before we wrap up. Did you know that the Ford F-150 has been America's best-selling truck for over 40 years? That's right, for decades of dominance, and now it's stepping into the electric future without skipping a beat. Incredible, right? So, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the F-150 Lightning versus the classic gas model, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video where we break down the coolest cars, trucks, and EVs hitting the streets. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, that's it from me today. I'm curious, if you had to pick, would you go for the all-electric Lightning or stick with the classic gas-powered F-150? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading what you guys think. Until next time, keep your engines, or batteries, running, and I'll see you in the next video.